Well, Brownies, that's all she wrote for the 2024 season. Sorry it took me so long to make a video. I've been too pissed off, but I've calmed down a little bit. It's plain and simple. The Browns just got their flat out their ass beat by the Texans. It wasn't even close. From pretty early on in the game, it was obvious that the Texans came to play and the Browns didn't. Now, is the blame? I don't know. You could say Kevin Stefanski, and he gets the blame. All the coaches get the blame, but the players do too. Everybody gets the blame. What a nice trucker guy that is, letting me over. This car isn't going to pull up so I could get out of the fucking road. There we go. But everybody's to blame, man. Listen, our tackles, specifically James Hudson, got beat all day. You know, he's a third string tackle, and he's been there the last few weeks. The Texans just look like they wanted it more, man. I'm going to tell you right now, CJ Stroud, he's the real deal. I mean, I knew he was good. He's been playing well. I was worried about him, but he's the real fucking deal. And hats off to their coaches, man, for the scheme that they drew up for that game. They just wanted it more. Joe Flacco, listen, I'm not going to bash you, man. You've fucking put us in the playoffs and done a great job. I had a feeling there was going to be a game where you just turned the ball over and didn't make stuff happen. That just, unfortunately, was a playoff game. But, no, hats off to Joe Flacco, man. Honestly, I'd still be down and still would want to bring you back as a backup quarterback without a doubt. But, man, this is something. I'm not going to say this is the reason we lost at all. G. Bush from the Barbershop, Garrett Bush, G. Bush from his talk podcast show, The Barbershop, and he's on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show as well. He gave the Texans bulletin board material earlier in the week. You have to look up what he said, this and that. Pretty much said they ain't got a chance, that the Browns are going to dominate them, yada yada. And listen, I like G. Bush. I'm a big fan of G. Bush, and still will continue to be. And like I told him on Twitter, he gave them bulletin board material. It got back to their locker room. They heard it. CJ Stroud said in the Pat McAfee show he's heard all the chatter. Hey, man, you remember in 2020, the Browns is the Browns, Juju Smith-Schuster? What do you think amped us up to beat their ass? But, G. Bush is going to backtrack now and said those comments don't matter, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they do, man. But either way, it's whatever. G. Bush, you got to be better than that, man. Come on. But, I want to say this before you decide if you're going to pay this man or not. Man-to-man in the slot, contested catches, when it comes to him being, if he's on top of somebody, the ball's thrown their way, he's going to break up the pass. But Greg Newsome cannot cover deep, and I've said this for years. Greg Newsome cannot run. He is not fast. He's very good at contested catches, short routes. He's a slot corner, which is what we all knew along. He should not be covering Nico Collins deep. And the Texans knew that. They knew Greg Williams couldn't run. They knew he wouldn't be able to stay with Nico Collins. And they exploited that all fucking day. If I'm the Browns, I am not giving Greg Newsome a deal. I'm letting him walk unless he's going to take a really cheap deal, which he won't do. Greg Newsome is replaceable. Denzel Ward, not replaceable. Greg Newsome is definitely replaceable. I'd like to see Greg Newsome go. He's just too slow. Does he play hard? I'm not saying he doesn't play hard, but he just can't run, man. And, the Texans ain't going nowhere. They're a young team. They're a team we're going to have to beat in the future in the playoffs. I'm just not going to get too concerned, man. I still think Kevin Stefanski deserves credit for the job he did this year based on how beat up his roster was. Jim Schwartz deserves credit through the year. You know, the defense was beat up still too, but everybody's beat up right now. But yeah, man, they're just gonna have to fine tune the depth. The depth is really important to fine tune. They need to go after tackles. They need to go after wide receivers, big body wide receivers. The Cedric Tillmans ain't gonna work. I mean, he may be developing to a nice player, but Amari Cooper's not getting any younger, and I don't even know where Amari Cooper's contract situation's at. I don't know if we have to re-sign him or what, but the Elijah Moores ain't gonna do it. We need another big body receiver. But that's it, man. I'm happy with the season. We had a hell of a season. We made the playoffs, especially when Watson got hurt and half of our team went down. Everybody said we're done. It just sucks the season's over. Football offseason's the longest fucking offseason for any sport in the fucking world. I hate it. But, hey, Andrew Berry, good job. Kevin, good job. All you guys, good job. You guys just got some things to figure out in the roster. Go Brownies.